Welcome to this video training. This is Ray Stendel, publisher of Customer Engagement Magazine, and I'm so happy that you're here. In this video training, we're going to go through and discuss the important character traits of successful business owners. In past video training, we've talked about the attitudes and beliefs of successful business owners, and now it's time to dive into taking a look at character traits. The first one is that successful business owners consider their integrity as their most important asset. I really want you to let this sink in and think about it. Your integrity is everything as an individual and as a business owner, and how you interact with your customers and your employees. Everyone that interacts with you needs to know that you have a solid backbone and that you're somebody that can be trusted as somebody who is a person of integrity, has well-established ethics, values, and morals. Now, unsuccessful business owners, by default, consider integrity as a nice concept, but seldom consider this attribute when considering how they lead their life and come across to others. They don't critically analyze who they are, how they conduct themselves, both in personal life and in business. Now, Warren Buffett once said, and I'm paraphrasing, "When I hire someone, I look for someone with integrity, energy, and intelligence. And if they have the last two, but not the first, I run away like crazy." So I want you to consider these action steps for this character trait. Ask yourself, how do you define integrity for yourself? How do your employees define integrity? How would your customer define your level of integrity? And what can be done so that you can be more consistent in terms of how you conduct your life and come across to others? Let's take a look at number 2. Successful business owners embrace the word praxis, which means it's the internal alignment between thoughts, feelings, and actions. Unsuccessful business owners do not consider this alignment as critical to their success and will be in alignment more by accident than as a matter of rule. So what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, is alignment between your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. This alignment of having the right thoughts that you volitionally think about. It's your choice to think about what it is you choose to think about, which drives certain sets of emotions and feelings, which drives certain actions, which allows you to get reactions that allow you to make progress in life. This alignment needs to be there. If you have thoughts and feelings to do something, but don't actually do anything, there isn't alignment. If you have thoughts, but you don't have the right feelings that go with those thoughts, again, you're not going to do anything. So, unsuccessful business owners are individuals that don't have this alignment. And I don't want you to be one of those individuals. I want you to ask yourself these critical thinking questions. Ask yourself, do you embody praxis? Is there alignment between your thoughts, feelings, and actions? Do your employees embody praxis as it relates to how they interact with each other and with the customers? Where is there a disconnect, and how can it be resolved? Now, you're going to know if there is a disconnect very easily. If you are not making progress in your business to get more customers, to generate more referrals, to generate more testimonials, to sell deeper into your account base, to sell more often, let's consider these actions that happen because you connect with your customer. There's probably a pretty good chance that there is a misalignment between what it is you're offering to them, which means there is a misalignment between the strategies and tactics that you're using, which means you as a leader in the organization are not thinking about the right things to create the strategies and tactics that lead to the offers that convert, that lead to happy customers. This alignment is critical. Let's take a look at number 3. Successful business owners embrace objective reality when evaluating life choices. So let's let that sink in a little bit. They embrace objective reality. It's not subjective. A is A. It is what it is. It's embracing reality as it is, and then choosing your response, not just responding without any intellectual thought. We choose our response, right? When we evaluate our life choices. Unsuccessful business owners, they live in a world of delusion, and they believe that the world will just somehow unfold in a way that maps to them. Now see, there's a very big difference here. Successful business owners embrace objective reality and then consciously think about their next steps. Unsuccessful business owners live in a world of delusion that changes function of life circumstances. So what I want you to do is ask yourself, do I embrace objective reality and take responsibility for my results, both positive and negative? You see, or are you somebody who tends to blame others and maybe selectively recalls reality to best suit where you are in life? Embracing objective reality means accepting the good and the bad about your present situation. If you choose to put issues under the rug, they'll not be solved and they will manifest into bigger issues later. I promise you this. So step number 1 is to embrace objective reality for where you are in terms of your business and your life. Take stock of where you are in terms of acquiring customers. Take stock of where you are in terms of retaining these customers. Take stock of what has been your growth projections up to now. Where have you been? Where do you think you're going? Do you have the strategies and tactics and marketing know-how to grow your business? You see, at the end of the day, every business is about basically 3 things. It's about sales and marketing to acquire customers. It's about retaining customers. And it's about innovating so that you can have a stronger reason to bring customers towards you. And I want you to embrace objective reality as it relates to your business across these 3 dimensions, but also as it relates to your relationships with your children, with your spouse, with your friends, and with your colleagues. Let's take a look at number 4. Successful business owners consider emotional intelligence as an important characteristic of successful people. You see, successful business owners are always interested in trying to figure out how they can better understand themselves, and in the process of understanding themselves, be able to understand others. Now, unsuccessful business owners do not really connect and really understand what emotional intelligence is about. I mean, I think they probably understand at a high level. It's about being able to read people, perhaps, being able to read body language, perhaps. But do they ever really make a concerted effort to increase their emotional intelligence? Most of the time they don't. So what I want to do with you right now is give you the specific criteria you can rank yourself against so that you know exactly what to do to move forward. So number 1, I want you to consider that emotional intelligence is very much tied to being an effective communicator. So evaluate your ability to simplify ideas to make them easily understood, your ability to use the right words and use language the way it was meant to be used to communicate your ideas, and to be able to do this through multiple different formats, whether you are communicating through the written word, or you are communicating orally, or you are communicating through video and you start to use body language. So effective communication skills is a hallmark of somebody with high emotional intelligence. I want you to rank yourself from 1 to 10. Go ahead and do that now. The next factor is understanding human motivators. In order for you to have high emotional intelligence, you need to be really good at understanding why somebody does what they do. It's also important for you to know why you do what you do to keep yourself highly motivated. Understanding emotional motivation is very, very key. Rank yourself from 1 to 10 on your ability to, 1, evaluate why others do what they do and read people. And number 2, evaluate your own level of understanding why you do what you do. The next factor is being in control of your emotional state. This means choosing to respond to circumstances in a careful manner, as opposed to having a knee-jerk reaction. Being able to control your emotional state can sometimes be challenging. Admittedly, I have had my own challenges with controlling my temper on occasion. I think all of us can relate to that. But we need to be able to do so, because we are not at our best when we lose control of our emotional state. People with high emotional intelligence have the ability to do so, and so can you. Another aspect of emotional intelligence is your ability to persuade others. Think of how you have persuaded others in the past, and ask yourself how successful you have been. Being able to persuade others using and understanding human motivation, as well as being able to present logic, is critical, depending on who it is you are working with. Let's move on to our next topic. Successful business owners are authentic and only want to express who they are to the world. I really want you to consider this idea and look at the words that I'm using. They are authentic and they want to express. They have inside of them a message that they want to communicate to a marketplace, a message of a solution, a product, a service. They have a message that they want to communicate that they passionately believe in. If they're a speaker or they're an author or they're a consultant, they have something inside of them that burns with desire to want to communicate it because they love what they do. They are enthusiastic about how they can add value in the marketplace, and they authentically want to share this with others. Now, unsuccessful business owners are too busy trying to impress others that they fail to authentically express who they are. You can notice these individuals because they're always flashing their money, flashing their cars, flashing everything they have around them because, unfortunately, they derive their self-esteem from various objects that they surround themselves with, as opposed to having internal self-esteem for who they are and what they stand for. Unsuccessful people are name-dropping. They like to show who they know because, again, they don't feel that they're enough. So I want you to really focus on being someone who expresses yourself as opposed to somebody who's trying to impress others. Now, don't get me wrong. When we are successful in life and we do well, sharing that with others in a way that it adds joy to life, there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes down to what's that underlying motivator? What's that underlying motivator? Are we trying to get people to turn their head and look at us and say, look at me? Or are we trying to direct attention to a more meaningful subject that we can focus on to improve the quality of life by expressing ourselves? So I want you to now ask yourself these questions. As a business owner, is your focus to express who you are and how you can help your customer? Or to impress industry contacts about how smart you are? Or to impress fellow colleagues about how smart you are? Do you hire employees who are authentic and want to express their skills to serve customers? Or are you hiring people who are always jockeying, trying to figure out how they can climb that corporate ladder and impress the next manager in the process? See, that's what you want to be looking for. I know individuals who are constantly changing jobs. They're not my close friends, don't get me wrong. They're always jockeying for a new position. They barely ever get comfortable in one position to add value before they start looking for another position. You do not want to be like these individuals. Express yourself, be authentic, and don't focus on trying to impress others. Let your results speak for themselves. Let's move on to number 6. Successful business owners take personal responsibility for their thoughts, feelings, actions, habits, and behaviors. They take responsibility for everything that they are, become in the future, and whatever happens to them. I really want you to let this sink in. This is one of the most important things that I have learned in my life. A successful business person is able to be very truthful to themselves. They're able to say the following: I take full responsibility for everything that I am today and everything that I will ever become. I take full responsibility for everything I have in my life today and everything I will have in the future. I take full responsibility for my relationships that I have today, the relationships I have in the future. These are individuals who take responsibility for the way their body looks, the level of health that they have today and where they will be in the future. It's an interesting conversation and a transformation that takes place when you work with somebody who moves from the childlike mentality of saying that circumstances around them are the fault of somebody else. It's mommy and daddy's fault for various problems. It's my manager's fault for these problems. It's my neighbor's fault for these problems. It's my spouse's fault for why I'm fat because they feed me too much. See, this is a childlike mentality of placing responsibility on others. And when somebody really turns into an adult, they are somebody who says, no, it's my responsibility. I'm 100% accountable for my life and how I lead it. Very, very important idea here. And I want you to think about it, because you see, unsuccessful business owners don't take this personal responsibility. They constantly blame others for their circumstances and conditions in life. It's always someone else's fault. So I now have a few action steps that I want you to go through. Being an effective business leader means you are accountable for your results. This is the same attribute you need to encourage with your employees. The buck must stop with you. It must stop with your employees. Ultimately, the buck stops with you as a business owner. But you need to encourage your employees to also be responsible for their role in solving problems. There must be alignment, and we've talked about this before, between your thoughts, feelings, actions, and habits and behaviors, not only with you as the business owner, but with all of your employees. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing to foster this alignment in your organization? How are you doing this to enable your organization to scale and to have massive growth? Let's move on to our next topic. Successful business owners are patient when it comes to getting what they want. They have the ability to delay their gratification. Now, I want to be very clear here. Successful business owners are very focused. They know what they want. They're going for what they want. They're playing the long-term plan. They're not looking for success overnight. They know that that is not legitimate and it will not be around for very long. So they can delay their gratification. But this does not mean that they are not actively working towards getting what they want and pushing on every angle that they can think of to make what they want to happen. But they do not get frustrated and unhappy very quickly because they know they're playing the long tail game. It takes time and effort to build a legacy. See, they think in terms of legacy. They think in terms of being able to create real impact. They're not after a cheap payment for a trifle of a piece of work. They want to have lasting impact and they want to be able to create big results. Now, unsuccessful business owners have no patience. They live and thrive in a microwave world where they want everything now, now, now. They put it into the microwave of life and expect a result to come out in 60 seconds. And if it takes longer than that, then there's a problem. You'll know these individuals because they tend to be very shoot-from-the-hip oriented, exceptionally pragmatic, focused on just a couple weeks in front of them, maybe a quarter. If anything takes longer than a quarter in the business environment, they're not very focused on that. And the problem with this type of mentality is that you can never build long-term growth because you're always chasing what's right in front of you. You have no visibility of what's coming up next. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a balance, and I want you to ask yourself these thought-provoking questions. There's a careful balance between being action-oriented to get results and having the right level of patience to get the right results. Underscore the right results. Because if you put your ladder against the wrong wall and climb up on it, you are at the top of the ladder on the wrong wall, meaning it's the wrong results. Many business owners are too focused on the tactical initiatives to get things quickly. It needs to be balanced with strategic objectives. There needs to be a strategy that is driving the tactics. And you as a business leader must have a careful balance between these two, tactics and strategy, immediate action, and having patience to get what you truly want. Let's take a look at the next step. The next step is about being able to really absorb and learn new information. Successful business owners like to read and devote a minimum of 30 to 60 minutes every day reading non-fiction that improves their position in life. They have realized that life is too short to try and figure out everything by themselves through the process of trial and error. They want to learn from others. The same reason you are listening to this program right now. Instead of spending the years that I have taken to assemble all of these character traits, you're listening to what I'm sharing with you with the hopes that these traits can help you. So you're already doing this, I'm sure. But you see, unsuccessful business owners, they hate to read, first of all. And if they read at all, they read fictional stories as a means to escape their current reality. Now, there's nothing wrong with reading fictional stories or watching a drama on television or watching a fictional movie as a means to relax. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when entertainment through fiction far outweighs education through non-fiction content. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. Assess how many books you have read in the last month. Go ahead, think about it. How many books have you read in the last month? You might ask yourself, how many of them were fiction and how many were non-fiction? Now ask yourself, what insights did you get from reading this material? Did you study it like a mad scientist? Or did you read it in a very relaxed manner, retaining very little from the material? These are only questions that you can ask yourself. And again, I don't claim to be perfect in this arena. Sometimes I read and I retain a lot. Sometimes I read and I don't really study. The point is, all of these are ideas that we all need to strive to do a better job at so that we can get better. And I want you to really ask yourself, how are you applying what you studied? Ask your employees what they are reading and only hire employees that read. If you take nothing out of this broadcast, aside from this one point, you will be far ahead. It's one of my favorite interview questions. I like to ask people, what are you reading today? What was the last book that you read? What did you learn from it? How are you applying it? And I'm looking for somebody who can articulate back to me an answer that shows that they are somebody who likes to study, likes to learn, likes to apply what they're learning. And if they come back and are not able to articulate anything that they have read and applied recently, to me, that's a warning sign. Now, for your current employees, I would go and I would ask each of them in their one-on-one meetings. I would get your managers in one-on-one meetings with employees to ask them in their status meetings, what are you reading today? What are you reading this week? What's the last book that you have read on business? What's the last book that you have read on your subject matter of expertise? So let's suppose that you have somebody who is employed as an engineer, and they happen to be a software engineer. Then you might ask this employee, out of curiosity, what's the last book that you have read on programming, on software engineering, best practices. If you're dealing with a project manager, what's the last book that you have read on effective project management using new methodologies? For example, the Scrum methodology. You're looking for people who constantly are investing in their own value. Let's move on to our next point. Successful business owners are willing to abandon old paradigms and previous comfort zones in favor of new opportunities and better ways of doing things. You see, each of us have our own paradigms. Our paradigms for what we do and how we do it. These paradigms are like computer programs that reside in the back of our mind, in our subconscious, that dictate everything about how we act and how we show up in life. These paradigms dictate what we're willing to even attempt to do. It's highly connected to our self-esteem. It's highly connected to the way in which our subconscious mind operates. So successful business owners are willing to abandon old paradigms, these collections of habits and collection of views on the world, to push the envelope on their comfort zone, to do things that they're uncomfortable because they know that new opportunity is going to be found on the edge of their comfort zone. Unsuccessful business owners, they tend to seldom give up old ingrained paradigms and rarely step outside their comfort zone. This leads to living each day like the previous day. They often say you cannot teach old dogs new tricks. If you've ever heard this expression, you know you're dealing with somebody who does not like to get outside of their comfort zone. Irrespective of the age, we all can learn something new. We can all push our minds to go to the next level and do things we're uncomfortable doing so that we can expand and grow. And I want you to consider this concept of growth. All of us, being living creatures, are either growing or dying. I want you to consider a plant. A plant is either growing, expanding, and searching for sunlight as it exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen and takes water and nutrients from the earth and reaches for the sun to get taller, or it is in a process of decline and shrinking and dying and becoming more arid and drooping away from the sun. This is a good analogy for human beings, because either we are growing and pushing against our comfort zone. You see, the little tree or the little plant that is growing up is pushing against the comfort zone of gravity. It's pushing up. It's struggling. See, it's pushing that comfort zone. That's where the beauty, that's where the excitement is. That's how you take an acorn and it turns into a beautiful oak tree. It's pushed up because of its pursuit for growth and exchanging the nutrients that surround it to allow for that growth. You need to be like that. You need to be somebody who's constantly advancing and growing. And in order for you to do that, you need to chase after opportunities that are on the edge of your comfort zone. Here's what I want you to do to move forward on this. For your business, I want you to write down your current financial snapshot. Go ahead, do this. Look at your income statement. If you don't have one, create one. If you don't know how to create one, get help in creating one. Look at your balance sheet. Look at your cash flow statement. I want you to take a look at the snapshot of your operation. Now imagine that you and I are having coffee 3 years from now. What level of growth would have had to have happened for you to be satisfied with your progress? This is a very powerful question. What we're doing is we're future pacing. We're future pacing into the future, which is 3 years from now, which is very believable in terms of a time frame. It's long enough for you to be able to do something substantial, but short enough that you can picture where you could be. So I want you to imagine, I'm going to repeat the question. Now imagine that you and I are having coffee 3 years from now. What level of growth would have had to have happened for you to be satisfied with your progress? Now I want you to put down that number. What level of growth needs to have happened for you to be happy? Now does this level of growth make you feel uncomfortable? That's the next question. Why or why not? If the number does not make you feel uncomfortable, I want you to double the sales and go through the same process. It's important to pick a challenging yet attainable goal you can believe in that is outside your comfort zone. Otherwise, you'll continue to get what you've always gotten and expected. This was a very important module within this video training. I really want you to get this message because it could change everything about your life and your business. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next step. Successful business owners are willing to pay the price for what they want. I want you to really think about that. Willing to pay the price for what they want. You see, these individuals are not going out there negotiating the price for what they want. They're willing to pay the price for what they want. See, this idea of paying the price can be anything from being willing to do the work needed in the gym to be more physically fit. It could mean that you're willing to pay the price to work later hours, to do more, to go the extra mile. It could mean that you're willing to create materials that help your customers make informed buying decisions because you know that they're going to be more likely to want to work with you. You see, they're willing to pay the price for what they want. They have a long-term horizon to get what they want, and they're willing to pay the price. They're not renegotiating with the universe to say, "Excuse me, Mr. Universe, I need results faster, and therefore I need things to just materialize quicker." Because that would be delusional thinking, wouldn't it? Let's take a look at our unsuccessful business owners. Unsuccessful business owners always try and negotiate on what needs to be done to take the shortest possible shortcut. They're always trying to take a shortcut. So I want you to go and ask yourself, are you willing to pay the price and go the distance to get what you really want? The first challenge is to be clear on what you really want. And if you're not clear, you need to get clear. Many people get stuck here and never move forward because you don't really know what you want in clear terms. You need to be able to see what it is that you want in very clear terms and be able to describe it down to an excruciating level of detail. The second step is to get clear on what needs to be done when forming the plan. The third step is to believe the plan and believe that you're on the right plan. This comes down to business experience. The fourth step is to have the persistence, the willingness, the patience, the determination to execute the plan. My question to you is, which step are you at? And can you articulate what you want, the plan to get there, and where you are in the process of achieving the objective? Let's take a look at our next critical characteristic. Successful business owners are active listeners using all modes of communication. They are fully present. You know that you're dealing with a successful business owner when you are connected to them because they have a laser-like focus on you. They're looking at you intently. They are reading your body language. They are listening to the words that you use. They are showing you that they understand the words that they use through their body language. They are also selectively paraphrasing key things that you have said to make sure the message has been communicated to them. Now, unsuccessful business owners, they're too busy figuring out what they're going to say next that they often don't really understand the message communicated and miss vital body language. You see, they are too much focused on themselves, what they are going to say next, and they are not focused on what you are actually saying. This topic relates to emotional intelligence, which we've talked about earlier on. I want you to be somebody who has active listening skills. And this, my friends, takes time and effort to develop. I'm going to give you some specifics that I want you to consider. Number one, it's about being able to focus on the other person and nothing else. Put the phone away, put the social media away, close the computer, the laptop lid so you're not distracted. Focus on the other person. Look them in the eyeball and listen to what they're saying. Take notes. Ask intelligent questions. Observe their verbal and nonverbal communication. and be able to communicate that you're in tune with what the other person is talking about. Each time you communicate with somebody, I want you to strive to be 100% present. I want you to follow what we're talking about here, and you will notice an increase in the quality of the conversations you have, which is going to lead to an increase in a quality in the level of relationships you have. People natively want to feel understood. They want to be acknowledged for their contribution. And they want to be able to connect with other human beings. It's your job as the recipient of this information to allow for that connection to take place. And the better you get at being a communicator and receiving information and in being able to intelligently share information to others who are hopefully actively listening to you, the more you will be able to advance your life and your business. I've hoped you enjoyed this video training. I have purposely condensed many characteristics down to just these ones, which I feel are the most important to you. It's taken me a lifetime to be able to pull this information together in a way that I think could really help you move forward. Your next step is going to be to review this material and to share it with your employees. I'd encourage you to have a discussion with your employees on each one of these topics. I'd encourage you to get individuals involved, to rank themselves, and to consciously help each other get better in each of these characteristics. Don't keep this just for yourself as a business owner. Share it with your immediate reports. Share it with your employees. By working together, you will be able to increase the ability of your company to make a difference in your marketplace and differentiate from the competition in your marketplace because your employees will get stronger. And the more that you show that you're interested in helping your employees develop these business skills, the more they'll thank you for it, the more they will be loyal to you to help advance your objectives. And you will in turn create leaders in your organization so that you can grow. Because if you can't create leaders in your organization, and if you're not in the leadership creation business, you are not in a business that is growing. I look forward to sharing more useful content with you. Please be in touch with me if I can help you in executing anything that we have talked about. This is Ray Stendel wishing you the very best.